and welcome once more to my YouTube channel. So, last time we saw how to create number sequences and how to create operating units within Dynamics 365. Today, we shall go a little bit further to understand what a general ledger is in Dynamics 365. So let's ride along. This is going to be more of a theoretical session, which will be followed by a practical session, possibly in a different series, not this particular one. So, looking at what the general ledger is, or first, let's look at what we are going to cover here. We are going to look at the general ledger, understand what it is, understand what charts of accounts are, in a very simple way. I promise you, even if you are not someone with an accounting background, this is going to be quite very easy for you to understand. I promise that I'm going to break everything quite really simple, and then you understand what is or what are main accounts. Moving ahead. So therefore, what is a general ledger in the aspect of Dynamics 365? A general ledger is a module on its own, and is more of like a central record where every purchase, sales, payments end up. And this general ledger, I want you to think of it as a master financial diary of the entire business, which means all the financial recordings that are done, recorded in the business, will be centralized on the general ledger. Is it sales? Is it purchases? Is it tax? Everything is linked to the general ledger. I know at this point you're thinking that this might be something quite really complicated, but I promise you I'm going to simplify it very, very easy for you. So now, why is this general ledger important? The first part is cash positioning. It enables you to know exactly how much you have at any time. And then profit or loss, you are able to determine how much you are getting and how much you are losing. This is very important for decision making. And then spending insight, it kind of what exactly and where exactly your money is being spent. Isn't this amazing? That is what the general ledger does. So how important is it to you? Now, let's look at what a chart of account is. Just to note, a chart of account is not only in Dynamics 365, SAP, Workday, all the major ERP systems, I think all have a chart of account. And what is this chart of account? It's like a structure of all accounts that you use in business. And this kind of helps to organize data into very clear categories. Think of it as if you are filing a system that keeps your finances organized. Let's break it a little bit easy for you to understand. Think of a chart of account like a book, like that book you keep in your business place where you have a record of all your financial transactions. Within this book, you have divided it into sections and say, okay, this particular section is where my assets are, and these assets are the things that you own. What you own, maybe it could be your car, could be your computer, could be your business, could be the stock that you have if you're doing fashion, maybe the clothes you have if you're doing if you are selling perishable products, maybe it could be tomatoes, could be whatever. That's your asset in the name of stock. That is what you own. And then another page is for liability, what you owe, like the things that you've taken from your suppliers and you've not paid are your liabilities. Just an example. Then revenue is every money that is coming in, regardless, you've not separated it from profit, you don't know which one is profit, every money that is coming in before anything. Then the expenses are like the salaries, the rent, all those small transactions that you perform every day, that money is stepping out. So you've separated these pages, and in this way you've listed all these things in these separate pages. In Dynamics, it's just quite really the same, where the chart of accounts will have these accounts organized in this manner: assets, liabilities, revenue, and expenses. You are structuring them separately. This is what a chart of account in very simple term is. I know a lot of people are doing business, but they don't really understand what this actually means. But as we forge ahead, you would have an understanding. Understand that this is a structure that you've put in place. Could be in your Excel sheet, could be in the physical books, could be in the system, where in Dynamics we are looking at it like within a system. Within these charts of accounts, like I said, you had assets, which can be cash, funds that are available to use anytime, equipment, machinery, tools, and just to name a few, buildings. These are your assets. Your liabilities could be like the loans you've taken, the bills, outstanding invoices that you need to pay, could be like amounts that you owe to your supplier. And then your revenue will be sales from the products you have, services you've rendered and you expect payment, or the payment you get from them. That is what your revenue at times too, you mostly hear income, money coming into the business. That's your revenue in a very simple term. Now, expenses, cost. In some ways you will hear this, but expenses is money that is going out: rent, salary, and utilities. Utilities like electric bill, water, and just to name a few. So these things, I want us to break this down so that whenever I'm making a video or the next video that is going to be more practical and I'm creating these things, you should understand very well. Now, the next thing is, what are main accounts? You've classified your assets, you've classified your expenses, you've classified your liabilities, you've classified your incomes. Now, under the assets, you can decide now to classify them by giving them numbers. You can say, for instance, all assets will range from 1,000 to 1,099,999. All liabilities will range from 2,000 to 2,099,999. All incomes will range from 4,000 to 4,999. 5,000 to 5,999 for expenses. These are just ranges that you've created. You're giving numbers, which means for cash, you have cash at bank and you have cash that is coming in physically. So that cash at bank, you can decide to give a different account number to that cash. We know that all assets are ranging between 1,000 to 1,999. So everything within this range is an asset. So in this case, you have bank, you can give it 1,001 for cash at bank, and then cash at hand, you can give it 1,002. Just like that, all the assets, you classify them in this manner. I hope this is making sense. If it's not, just leave a comment and I will explain further. Then liabilities, all the liabilities, the loan that you took, you can decide to say within that page that you've created for liabilities, you can decide now to separate that loan. You give a number to it, 2,001. The next liability you are taking maybe is money you owe to your suppliers, debtors. You can then put 2,002. Just like that, you give those numbers until they get to 2,999. And then the next starts from there. If it's 3,000 sales, if you've made, if there is revenue that is coming from sales, you classify them under 400 or 4,000. Just like that, if there are expenses, you classify them under that manner. In this way, you see that you're organizing your accounts, and this under charts of account. When you open your charts of account, you see all the main accounts that are within assets, all the main accounts that are within liabilities, all the main accounts that are within incomes and expenses, just in that manner. Let's go ahead. Now, looking at everything, this video is not going to be very long. Looking at everything now, you realize that the main accounts, that is the individual categories, connect to the charts of accounts, which organizes the structure, and then the full picture now, which is financial recording, is the general ledger. I hope this makes sense, and this kind of clarifies some of your doubts that you had about the works in Dynamics 365. You have a transaction. Let's say if I post a transaction, or if I've paid salary, you have to understand that in accounting, every transaction has two parts. There is a debit and credit. Either money is one, like salary. Let me summarize this. In accounting, all expenses are debited, all liabilities are credited, all assets are debited, all incomes are credited. You need to understand this. So now let's look at how it occurs in Dynamics. This is something that this is more of accounting anyway, but I'm just giving an overview of what it is. So now let's look at, you've posted a transaction, and this transaction is posted to a particular account. So now, to summarize everything, in Dynamics, when transactions are posted within the system, a particular account is assigned. Could be, in this instance, there are always two accounts associated to every transaction you make. For instance, if you make, let's say, if you pay salary, how did you pay that salary? There is a salary account and there is a cash account, because you paid salary by cash or from the bank. So you have two accounts that are impacted at this level. There is an expense account and there is an asset account. So an asset account is going to be reducing and an expense account is going to be increasing, something of that nature. So what happens is, when you post this transaction, these two accounts are assigned. Like, it picks up in Dynamics. The asset account will be populated with the cash or bank account, main account, and then the expense account will be populated with the associated expense, in this case rent, the rent account, and they all have numbers as I earlier classified, and then posted into the general ledger. If at the end you want reports, you can then generate reports, maybe monthly reports that will give you kind of a picture of all the transactions that you've performed within the month. So that is how it flows within Dynamics. When we are doing it practically, you have more clarity as to how this is done. So now, from this point or after this, I believe you are ready to get started. You are ready for us to dive into the system and understand how these things are posted. This was more of like a foundational, we're laying the foundation for you to understand what it is. We have looked at the general ledger, which is like a central record of all transactions, charts of account, which is a structure that organizes financial data, and then main accounts, which are individual categories for each transaction type. So that's what we've seen in this video. In the next video, we'll be looking at how to practically choose a scenario or an example and practically create charts of accounts, main accounts, just for you to see and then understand very well. Don't forget, I am your Dynamics guy. See you in the next video.